Hello, I'm Ken Dini at Studio 73. I'm here with Yasir Batalvi. How's it going? Thanks for
Hey
coming.
Ken, thanks for having me.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, so I'm running for SGA Vice President, and since I've gotten elected SGA Senator, I've had a plan to improve some of the facilities that we have on campus, but actually implement some real ideas. So, just to talk about them really briefly, here's what I'm thinking. One of the first ideas that I think we need to implement is cohesive campus community. So that includes having a welcome week, the first week of every semester when international, freshman, transfer, and commuter students get to Suffolk. That week needs to be packed with events because I really believe that we can carry that momentum through till the end. One of the other things that I'm working on is building a Suffolk University mobile app. So that means an all-in-one stop shop where you can access everything from Blackboard to Campus Cruiser to My Suffolk, Live Safe, book study rooms at the library. Because the truth is, other universities, they're implementing programs that help their students excel. And if Suffolk wants to become a world-class institution, we need to be ahead of the curve.
Sounds like you got a lot of big plans.
Yeah.
As SGA Senator, what kind of experience have you gained?
Well, so when I got elected SGA Senator as a first-year student, my first task was trying to make sure I can understand in a cohesive manner what the problems of Suffolk students really are. So when I went around campaigning, I asked them, hey, what do you really want to see improved around Suffolk? And one of the first things I heard was a talk about funding for clubs. So I became part of Finance Committee, and along with 7 other students, I work every Tuesday to produce a budget and initiatives for basically every club on campus. So if that means purchasing uniforms or equipment, if that means funding for conferences or travel, we're right there trying to make sure that we're fair to every club and using money that students put in with their activity fees to ensure that everyone has fair access to opportunity. Because really, this is money that Suffolk students have put into the pot, and we just want to make sure it's given out adequately. That's one of the ways I've gained experience.
Definitely, that's important. Now, do you think you could transfer that experience to the vice president position?
I really think I can. Let me take a second here to tell you why I think I'd be a good fit to be vice president. When I realized that there were ideas that I had heard about from Suffolk students that I was just having trouble to implement, I figured there's a reason for it. And the reason in most cases is there's inefficiency in the system of the administration that we have at Suffolk. And that's not unique to Suffolk. That's part of really any organization. Heck, it's even part of our national government. So my idea about the Suffolk University app, to just use it as an example, was to walk into the office of Dan Rystorm and Marion Sales, who are the project IT managers at Suffolk, and to say, hey, we want to build this app. How can we do it? They said, you know what, this is going to be expensive, it's going to take a lot of time, and we're going to have this sent all the way to the top, and then get financing and funding, and then we're going to have a prototype, and then testing, and all this sort of stuff. And when I walked out of their office, I was determined to come up with a solution. So what I said is, why can't we get Suffolk students to build the app? And so when I went to the IT department, I spoke to some of the best and brightest at Suffolk, who I refuse to believe people who say that they aren't qualified, because I think that they really are qualified to build an app for Suffolk. And we've already gotten a prototype. So I'm really excited to have an agenda that I think is actually actionable. That's really the essence, because in student government sometimes we lose sight of results, and we get focused on a lot of other things, a lot of talk a lot of times. But I'm excited to actually get things done.
No, sounds good. It sounds like a great way that you could merge students outside of SGA into an organization such as SGA.
Right.
What kind of improvements could you guarantee? You talked a lot about your welcome week in the app. What's the timeline? How could this actually happen?
Well, so what I'm thinking about a welcome week is an idea of having SGA co-sponsor a welcome week with an organization like Program Council, which, by the way, does fantastic work on campus to put together a lot of fun events. To have a week that starts off fun and social, because a lot of the problems we have with a lack of a campus cohesive community is an idea that international students, freshmen, transfer students, and commuters, they're feeling excluded. So if we start off on the right foot, and we start off this week packed with events, but not just events to have fun, events like talking about responsible alcohol consumption, or talking about sexual assault awareness. These are things that we need to do a much better job of promoting on campus. And if we can have students train in this and everything from sensitivity training and diversity training, we can have a week where we really bring people into the Suffolk community. And I'll tell you what my experience was when I first came here. When I came here, just as I'm sure you did for orientation, you come here for basically a couple of days and you get wound up. You know, you get excited because you meet all these professors and you get to meet other students and you're excited about going to school. But then we get sent home. And the problem with that is that we're excited to start, except we have to wind back down. And that's something that we need to do a better job of improving, especially when we start off at Suffolk with a welcome week.
Do you think that student interaction is important at Suffolk with such a large international, I mean, you're an international student yourself, are you not?
That's right, I am, and honestly, Ken, I think it's crucial. I think that only part of your experience at university is academic. I think a large part of it is how you actually get to interact with other people, develop connections and experiences. And so what I think is phenomenal about Suffolk is that we're in the heart of an urban metropolis. We're surrounded by one of the most amazing cities in America, except sometimes that presents a challenge. And the challenge means that sometimes our students get lost and they feel like they're not connected to our community. And to actually connect Suffolk students to the Suffolk community means having some tangible, actionable plans to have not only them included, but have everyone from the staff and the fantastic and dedicated faculty to work with them to make sure that they're just as much a part of our community as someone who's a first-year student who happens to live on residence.
All right, well, thanks a lot for coming. It was great talking to you.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks for having me.